Yes, Albert JTV community. Welcome back to the channel. Instant match reaction. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Arsenal secure second place in the Premier League and the penultimate game of the season. One more to go. Listen, very quick instant reaction. Listen, coming into this game, I was a little bit concerned with Arsenal's form in the Premier League, as you would have seen. Newcastle are fighting for that Champions League place. We need to secure second. They had a couple key players missing in terms of Alexander Isak and Joel Linton, but you actually wouldn't have thought that in the first half because, again, Arsenal typically a lot of slow build-up play, too many passes in our own half, not moving the ball quick enough. And Newcastle, if it wasn't for David Raya, it could have easily been 2 or 3-0 at half time, even though a couple of the mistakes that were made were through him, but he made up for it. But Arsenal, Newcastle really bossed the midfield area with Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, and the two wide boys in Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes. Very dangerous threats, and they really stretched us, to be quite honest with you. And like I said, it could have been 2 or 3 with some of Newcastle's attacks, but Arsenal only really looked threatening, if I'm going to be really honest, through set pieces. We had about 7 corners in that first half, but apart from the sort of reflex play from Nick Pope, Arsenal didn't really create anything. And it's been really been a tale of our season. We hadn't scored against Newcastle with the 3 previous meetings before, so it's looking a little bit against us. But I thought we was very lucky to go in at half-time at 0-0, because I think we should have been losing the game personally. Like I said, David Raya saved us sort of in the course of the first half. But we was a bit better in the second half, just because we raised the tempo and intensity a bit more and put Newcastle a little bit on the back foot. I expect them to come out even more, because obviously what was on the game, and it's quite tight for that them Champions League spots. But I'd say the one bit of quality that we did have, and we scored the goal from it. And Declan Rice has come up trumps again. What a fantastic strike. I actually thought he didn't look fit actually starting the game, so I was quite surprised when I saw him in the starting lineup. But his moments of brilliance and brilliant execution, and a great shot past Nick Pope into the far right hand corner. So at 1-0, Newcastle got to come out a bit more, a few more subs, and try and get that elusive goal to make it 1-1. But Arsenal rode their luck a little bit. Like I said, a bit better in the second half than the first half. But listen, upon reflection of this season, it's been a disappointing Premier League campaign. I think I'm being polite by saying disappointing. 14 draws and only securing runners-up spot, penultimate game to the Premier League season. There's some addressing that needs to happen with this playing squad in terms of moving players on, players coming in. I want to see some more dynamism next season. I want to see a bit more pace in the side. I want to see us address the right areas. So just a few things to sort out in terms of Arsenal going forward for next season. Let's stay behind a little bit to hear the speech afterwards. What can you do as an Arsenal fan? You hold into account on what Mikel Arteta and Martin Odegaard say after the match is done. The talking has got to stop at some point, and we've got to deliver success at this football club. Yes, the progression has been seen and it's been heard over the last 4-5 years, but we need to start getting a winning mentality in this squad, whether that's a domestic cup or even the Premier League, or who, God forbid, we go and win the Champions League. But we've seen a very different time in football, where you've seen Bologna go and beat AC Milan in an Italian Cup final. You've seen Crystal Palace go and win their first trophy in their history. You've seen Newcastle go and break their duck for how many 70-odd years. So as an Arsenal fan, I'm going to be honest, I speak for myself when I say this, it's when you see teams, winning trophies, and you see the joy on fans' faces. I'm not saying that the fans are not behind Mikel, because there's a fraction of fans that absolutely idolise him. And on top of that, there's sections of the Arsenal fans that want to hold into account, and they've been here 5 years and a certain amount of money spent. We need to see evidence, as they were saying. But yeah, my player of the match, I don't know who Sky gave it to, so drop in the comments down below. I would probably just give it to David Raya, just because if it wasn't for him in the first half, I think it could have been quite a rocky atmosphere at the Emirates this afternoon, short of going into the late evening. As I said before on a podcast, and Hybrid's got big up Sophie Nicolau. For our Arsenal fans, go and recharge your batteries, seriously. go and take a break, go on holiday, take up some hobbies or activities, because it's been a long season. It's not been an enjoyable season coming to the games. The second half was a bit better, but the first half was a bit copy, paste, repeat of Arsenal, because there's some things that need to be corrected and changed. But listen, we need to fight another day. We've got our last game of the season away to Southampton. You might see a watch along, so maybe look out for that. And obviously, people, there is a big game next Saturday in regards to the Arsenal Women's Champions League final against Barcelona. So get behind that. You'll see me doing a watch along for that on Hybrid Squad and my channel combined. So looking forward to that. But people, it's been a long season. The grey hairs are there, even though you probably can't see it. But we secured second place. And listen, we live to fight another day. But listen, if we need to go into next season and start sharply and brightly. No 14 draws. There's other teams that have won more Premier League games than us this season. We haven't really been in the title race at any point this season. That needs to change. So we've regressed this season in the Premier League. I find anybody difficult. I find it very hard for anybody to disagree with that. But we can't start the way we did this season. Otherwise, teams were going to blast away. Liverpool will be stronger. Chelsea will be stronger. City will be stronger. So it's going to be even tough to win the Premier League. Even tougher. But listen, we'll see what happens in the summer, because there'll be transfers covered galore and hearsay and gossip. But people, that is Albert JTV. Lots of love actually for the support from my channel, hitting 100,000k views. Small channel I've got, but listen, I enjoy what I do, and it's a pleasure to have an Arsenal community that come in and tune and watch me, and for the opportunities I've been given to appear on bigger platforms or bigger channels. So lots of love to you people, and Albert JTV is over and out. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Second place is secured. See you later, people.